With interest rates up, home prices continuing to rise, rents through the roof, a lot of people are asking the question, which is better, renting or buying? Can I tell you, that's a loaded question, but we're going to tackle that loaded question today on this episode of the Elite Realty Group Podcast. Here we go, y'all. Hello and welcome once again, everyone, to this episode of the Elite Realty Group Podcast, where we bring you the most up-to-date, relevant real estate information you're going to get anywhere on the planet. You're going to get it right here from your friends at Elite Realty Group. I am Mike Elkins with Elite Realty Group. Got my brother, Dave Elkins, also with Elite Realty Group. And today we're tackling a question that a lot of people are sitting and wondering about right now concerning this current real estate market. And the question is, rates are high, home prices are high, rent is high, groceries is high, eggs is high, everything is high. Which is better, renting a home or buying a home in 2025? What say you, my friend?
Well,
how are you today?
Yeah, I'm doing great. I'm doing great. But you said it in the opening. That's a loaded question.
It is a loaded question.
There's so much more that goes into that question. But, you know, you're right. Like, this is what we hear all the time now. Interest rates are insane right now.
Right.
You know, like, is it really smart for me to buy?
Sure.
Maybe.
That's
the way I always answer that question. Maybe it could.
Right.
I don't know your situation.
We are that group that will tell you this, and we say this quite often, and honestly, like, we take heat from it for some reason from both sides. I have no idea why both sides.
I don't get it either.
But I do not believe that me, you, anybody else, okay, gurus, know-it-alls, whatever you want to call it, I don't think anybody can answer that question for any one individual or family,
right,
and say, oh, I can tell you what you need to do.
Right.
I don't know that that's fair.
Right.
And that's not what we do. We tell you all the time in a lot of different conversations that we have. I don't think that's a question that you cast a blanket over it and say, we all fall under this blanket.
No, that's what I said. Everybody's situation is so unique. I had a conversation with a person the other day who's wanting to start getting into the rental stuff. Like, I'm saying, like, they are wanting to get rental property. And they was looking for a duplex, and, you know, so and they was looking that they was going to buy their first investment property with just the littlest amount of money down that they could possibly have to put down.
Right.
And then try to rent the duplex and it pay for itself.
Sure.
And that could be hard. But you know what? For another investor who's borrowing equity from an investment that he's already got and buying this same duplex,
right?
That's what I'm saying. That guy's situation is different than person number one.
Correct.
So there's so much that goes into it. We will never tell you it's the right time for you to buy a house.
No. That
you should never rent.
No.
You'll never hear me tell you that. And people say it from a realtor, you should be telling people they should never rent a house. I'm not going to tell you that.
Right.
It might be best for your situation that you rent.
Yes.
An apartment, a duplex, a house. That it might be best for you in certain situations, and it might be best to buy. My job and what I try to do is I try to help you break down those situations to see which one is right for you.
Right.
That's what I try to do.
And that's what we're going to do today on this episode. Again, to answer the question, you need to look at these things. You need to look at some of these. You need to hear the information. You need to count up the cost and see which is better for you. Because, again, individuals have different needs, all of those things. So let's start today by talking about not only really here in the Lakeway area. Again, we always try to say we're in East Tennessee, Morristown, Tennessee, Lakeway area specifically. But I think we can probably include, a lot of other areas in what we're getting ready to say. But let's just talk first today, because we're answering the question, which is better, renting or buying in 2025? What's the better thing that I need to do? Let's start first by talking about what's going on with rent. Okay.
Yeah.
I think that's a good place for us to start.
Mm-hmm.
In our area, and I think most areas, you see rates are higher than what people want.
Mm-hmm.
Home prices are still increasing, although at a slower pace than they have in a long time.
Right.
Homes are expensive. Okay. The average home price is
They
up.
really are. Yeah.
They're expensive. But also, along with all of that stuff rising, we're seeing in our own area, we're seeing rent continue to rise. Would you agree with that?
Shocker, right? I mean, like, is that surprising to anyone that home prices are up, gas prices are up, eggs are up, groceries are up?
Sure.
Rent's going to go up too.
Inflation.
Yeah.
That's what it
Gonna
is.
go
Now,
up too.
don't shoot the messenger here, okay? Don't shoot the messenger. But you made a good point earlier about the investor you were talking about. You know, most people that rent properties, they're investors. They're looking for those rental properties to make them some cash flow, okay?
Right.
Some people more than others. But a lot of investors use money to make money, okay?
Yeah.
They use other people's money, okay? They'll go get a loan from a bank, and then they'll say, okay, my loan amount's going to cost me this. My taxes and insurance is going to cost me this. I'm going to get a renter in, and they're going to help me pay for these expenses.
Yeah.
At the same point in time, if that investor's cost of getting their money has increased, and thus we know it has with rates and prices and all those things,
Goes downhill, man.
that's passed along. It's passed
it is.
along. So you continue to see in our area rents, and again, I think it's across the board in a whole lot of places. When we're talking about renting properties, rents, just like everything else, are continuing to go up.
Yeah.
You do hear, again, a lot of people when it comes back to the buying side. We're talking today about what's better, renting or buying in 2025. We're starting with the rental conversation. But you hear people that's buying houses today. The complaint is, man, these stinking interest rates.
Right.
All right. 7%, 7.2, 6.4, whatever it is they're getting. They're all over the board. So I can't tell you what it is.
Right.
They're all over the board. It's different for people. It's different for loan types, all those kind of things. But that's the complaint that you get is, man, these interest rates. Well, the thing that is still the same, what's going on with renting today in 2025 in this current market is rent is still 100%.
Yeah, it is.
Now, let me hear that again.
It is.
Rent is still 100%. Again, don't shoot the messenger.
Right.
We're discussing what's better, renting or buying. For some people, it's better to pay that 100% rent.
Right.
It is.
It really is. Yeah.
Rather than the 7% interest rate. It's better to do it. But what's going on with renting in 2025? Rent is still 100%. Okay? You're not getting any equity. You're not gaining those things. So renting is becoming expensive.
It is.
It's always been expensive. It's staying expensive. And it's still 100%. That's what's going on with renting. Now.
And I hear the people say, I want to say this real quick. I hear the people. We're going to have people right now comment on this video and go, yep, but I don't have everything that goes into the buying process. I'm saying when the heat pump goes out, I'm renting it and I don't have to pay to fix it. Yeah, you are.
Sure.
What do you think your money each month's going to?
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
Old Jack's putting that money back so when the heat pump goes out, he can fix it. So, yes, you are. I don't want to get on that bandwagon, though. I don't want to get there, but I'm just saying sometimes we're going to talk about it. Sometimes it's better off for you to pay that. But
Absolutely.
There's going to be people right now saying that. So I needed to feel like I need to say that to address it right now. Yes, you do pay for stuff.
We lay it out what's happening with renting. That's what we're talking about. That's a fact. Okay. Yeah. That's a fact. Take the heat from it, whatever you want to say, get mad. It don't matter. That's what is happening with renting. That's part of that side. However, y'all, that still may be right for you.
It still that's could right be for the best.
You, great. Yeah. That's perfect. We're not advocating one or the other. We're giving you information.
Right.
So we've talked about what's going on with renting in 2025. Well, it's expensive. Like everything else, it's rising.
Right.
Okay.
Right.
Talk to the people, my man. Let's switch gears because we're answering the question today, what's better? Renting or buying in 2025 with all that's out there. We've talked about what's going on with renting. Now talk to them what's going on as you're an expert in this field What's going on with buying?
Well, just like you said about renting, you said renting is expensive.
Sure.
Buying is expensive too.
Right.
So again, we ain't trying to pull the wool over nobody's eyes.
Sure.
Buying a home is expensive.
Holy cow,
too.
yes, it is.
Home prices are up, interest rates are up. Here where we live at, our taxes just went up.
Yes.
So it is expensive to own a home too.
Right.
So like the average home in our area is about $360,000.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, that's the average. Okay, now there is still good homes. This is where I feel like we need to talk about the renting side of it and tie it into the buying, because there's some good homes that you can get for $160,000, $220,000. Those are still good homes.
Absolutely.
I mean, you're not going to be on the lake,
right.
but you're going to be able to find a good, especially if you are a single or a small family that you don't need, 4 and 5 bedrooms.
Mm-hmm.
You're going to be able to find a smaller home that you may be able to afford, and it may be cheaper
right.
than you renting.
Mm-hmm. Sure.
I saw a home just today. Just today, I was looking on our local MLS. There's a home for rent on there right now for $3,500 a month.
Right. So
now,
the same one.
That's for rent.
Right.
That's high. You know what I mean? That's high.
Yeah.
But here's the good news. This is what I want to say, because again, let's put everything on equal playing field.
Mm-hmm.
If everything was on equal playing field, you just said rent is still 100%.
Absolutely.
It is.
Right.
The good news about buying, if I had to say there's a good news about buying, it's that the first day you move in there, you are gaining equity.
Sure.
You will have something when you decide to walk away.
Mm-hmm.
Good chance, unless you overpay for it right off the get-go. You're going to have equity that you can now take and do other things with.
Absolutely.
You are gaining that every time.
Yes.
Again, that don't mean that that's something that you have to do, but I'm saying if everything was equal,
right,
and you asked me the perfect scenarios, I'm going to tell you that buying would be smarter if everything was equal and the right scenario. But again, buying's expensive. But I think I started to say this and moved on. But again, there's loan programs where you literally have to pay $0 out of pocket. Mm-hmm. Okay, you don't put no money down.
Right.
They have, they can come down on your credit score, but you're looking at anywhere from no money down to 3.5% down to 5% down. A ton of options, but again, this is why we say we can't just throw a blanket over everything and say this is the way it is. Different homes in different areas qualify for different loan types, and then the people as well that are trying to buy these homes have different scores, different debt to incomes, so it's not a blanket scenario. But again, talk to somebody that can help you to figure out which one is going to be right for you, because one more thing and I'll let you go. Especially, I'm going to say this for people that are renting homes. Okay. Mm-hmm. Now, to me, you can never really look at it and say, I'm going to compare renting a duplex or an apartment to somebody who's renting a home.
Right.
When you're renting a home, those people are asking premiums for homes. And Absolutely. That's where I'm saying a lot of times you're going to see that you could probably buy that home cheaper than what you're going to pay to rent it, because there's a good chance that the person that is renting that home to you is using your money to pay that mortgage payment. Yeah.
I think it happens more than people think
and
about.
Making money.
And like you said, that's what I'm saying. It's investments to them.
Yeah.
So they're trying to do everything they can do to, of course, make a little bit of money. Again, some more than others. But, we did a recent episode on podcast, talking about, days on the market on houses and what you should be looking for and all of those kind of things. We're talking about in this particular segment on this podcast, what's going on with buying houses today. You are seeing people, and we called them in that episode, diamonds in the rough. Mm-hmm. You are seeing some of that happen in the real estate market right now, and buyers are able to take advantage of people and sellers offering like an incentive. You talked about different loan types and things that you can do. We've talked about it on our last couple episodes, and we need to do just a whole podcast on this. but actually the opportunity to buy your interest rate down, to be able to get it lower. We're seeing that happening with people buying houses right now, is the seller is willing to give a concession over and buy people's interest rate down and get that down, which gets that payment down, which gets everything good for you, as a buyer. But still, with everything going on with renting, which we've talked about, with what's going on with buying, which we've talked about, it still leads us back to this spot, which let's move here. There are still pros and cons of each of those.
Absolutely.
There's still pros to renting. There's still cons to renting. There's still pros to buying. There's still cons to renting. Okay. I'm going to take renting. You're going to take buying. Okay. I'm going to talk about first some pros to renting. Okay. The goods to renting. Okay. In most cases, this is a big pro to me. Okay. It's a big pro to me. Is in most cases, you can rent a place, throw whatever kind of place you want in that blank. You can rent a place for first and last month's rent. That's what gets you in there.
Gets you in the door.
Okay. So if your rent's $1,000 a month, you probably get in the place for $2,000.
Yeah. Down
payments on a house, closing costs on a house, you ain't getting in a house for $2,000.
Yeah.
Appraisals.
Yeah.
I'm saying, you can. I'm not saying you can, but most likely, to me, that's pro. Like, I don't have to have a big bunch of money over here. The another pro to me is on renting a house. I'm just going off the top of my head here. Doesn't necessarily matter what my credit score is. Doesn't necessarily matter what my
some's a little bit more lenient
is. Yeah, you know what I'm saying?
More lenient.
To me, that's a pro. Okay, I might not be able to qualify for a home. So it's a pro to me that I don't have to have a certain credit score to be able to do that. It's also a pro to me because in a lot of cases, if I'm here maybe or in this location at a temporary job or I'm going to be here for a short period of time, I don't have to have all those upfront costs.
Right.
It's a pro to me.
Right.
I can just rent, move on when I'm ready to move on. Okay. Now we do know that there's leases and agreements and all that go with that. Maybe that goes over into a con. But I think it depends upon your specific need. But I think there are advantages to renting. Okay.
Well, again, like I'm going to give you one. Is what I just said is that you ain't got as many responsibilities.
Sure.
If that heat pump goes out,
sure,
somebody else going to come put a heat pump in there for you. You ain't going to have that. So to me, that is a major pro. I'm going to say that. That's a major pro of renting something. Is
in most cases you don't have to cut the grass. In most cases you don't have to worry about the roof.
When it needs a roof and it's leaking,
those maintenance costs and all those things that come in with it. That is a pro to me.
Yeah.
Okay. Now I'm going to jump over to the cons and I'm giving it to you. Big con to me, about renting is it's 100%. Okay, I can't slice it no different than that.
Yeah,
it's 100% interest. Okay, you're paying everything you're paying. You're gaining no equity back for that. I think that's a bad deal. I think it's a bad deal. Cut me all you want to on that. Right. That is a con to me. Also, a con to me, I think in renting is you never really are able to say, this is mine.
This is my place.
This is mine. I want to tear out that wall and make the bedroom bigger. I want to paint it this color. I want to redo the outside.
You're helping me on my pros right now.
That's a con to me. You know what I'm saying? As far as looking at those things, that's a big deal to me. Also, I think you could look at it and say a con to me is usually the space that you have. I'm an outside guy. Okay. I'm an outside guy. Unless you're renting that $3,500 house you were talking about earlier.
Right.
Most of the time your outside life is non-existent. It's existent in these people all around me because I'm living in a complex.
Right.
That's a con to me.
Right.
Okay.
Right.
Maybe a pro to somebody else.
Might be a pro to some people.
But that's a con to me. All right. So there are, with renting, there are pros and cons. There's some of them. What say you? What's a pro to you that's watching today? What's a pro that's renting? What's a con to renting?
Yeah.
Put your answers in the box. I'd love to hear from you. Now I'm throwing it over to you. Give us the pros and cons.
I feel like on pros, I could just say everything you just said in reverse.
Sure.
I could just put it on repeat. But again, no, like realistically, I would say a pro, I have to say this first and foremost. I think a pro is that you are building equity. I think
your net worth is increasing.
Yes. I just feel like that's a pro. You kind of have more, I'm going to say stability, because just the fact that if I get a mortgage on this place, if I own this place, I'm buying it, I can tell you what my payment's going to be each month. I can't tell you if I'm renting next month. My landlord might say, you know what, rent has went up.
Yep.
And it's went up, like it, lump it or not, it's went up.
I agree.
So that's definitely a pro to me. And then what am I talking about again? Pros to buying. Pros to buying. Well, again, equity and stability. And again, just what you were saying, that if it's mine, at the end of the day, it's mine. If I want to remodel, if I want to do whatever, end of the day, that's mine.
You can do it.
It's mine. Yeah. Yes. So cons. I'm gonna give you some cons. It's, again, I feel like I'm reversing. If it's broke, it's on me. Yep. That's a con.
Yep. I don't like that part.
Ask us about a home warranty.
Sure.
We can help you there, maybe to an extent. But another con is it's expensive.
It is.
It's really expensive. Again, going back to what I just said, if it's broke, it's on you. But again, home prices are just up.
They're high.
But here's what I think we got to realize. I don't see that changing. No. I don't think, I feel like I said this on another podcast, I don't feel like at any point in time that we're going to wake up in the next day or two or 4 or 5 years. I don't feel like we're going to wake up and home prices are going to be like they was in the 60s.
I wish.
And I don't think gas prices, and I don't think groceries, and I don't think car prices. I think we are where we are, people. Right. As much as we hate to admit that, I don't like it either.
Sure.
That's where we're at in life.
Yes.
And so, again, we're all here, all doing the same stuff, all in the same scenario.
Right.
We got to make the best of it. Again, that's what I was saying earlier. If we're all in the same scenario and you asked me the question, should I buy or should I rent? I'm going to tell you should probably buy. Yes. Probably. I always throw probably in there. Right. But again, that's what I would say.
Yeah. And I mean, again, there's pros and cons to both of those. You know, you talk about just, we're going to get off topic here just a minute, if that's okay. But you talk about, again, just everything in the world is expensive. You know what I mean? That's just where we land.
That's it.
That's just what happens. If you talk about, you made a point, you made a comment that, you know, I don't think we're going to wake up tomorrow and it be back where it was in the 60s. And there ain't no way under the sun. You know, a lot of people talk about, sit around and are waiting on, I'm waiting on the next real estate crash. Mm-hmm. With where pricing is today, okay, and you said in our area, it's, you know, the average house around $360,000, depending on what publication or website you look at. It's a little bit higher than that across the country. Mm-hmm. But just like being 100% real, let's do easy math, because we're closer to the $400,000 range when we talk about nationwide. If we crashed out tomorrow, okay, like we woke up tomorrow and like, boom, there it is. There's the crash. And we literally had a 50%, drop in home prices. That $400,000 house is still going to be $200,000. Mm-hmm. That's still a lot of stinking money.
It is.
Any way you cut it.
Yeah.
Okay. It's just what you said. Everything is expensive.
Yeah.
It's all expensive. It just comes back down to, we're talking today on this podcast about what's better for me in 2025, renting the home or buying a home. It comes down to you as an individual, your individual needs, what you need. So let's talk about it and end the show with, I'm going to throw this hard question to you. We've got that listener out there. Okay, guys, you've told me the pros and the cons. You've told me what's going on with the renting. You've told me what's going on with buying in 2025. how do I decide? Like, what do I do to now, okay, I got the facts. You guys have given me the facts, but now what do I do with the facts? How does people decide what's right for them?
I think there's so much that goes into this because your lifestyle, the timing, your goals, there's so much that goes into ultimately just saying this. But to me, a good scenario that I always tell people, if you're going to be here, I'm talking about here or wherever your here is, if you're going to be where you're at for more than 3 years, it's probably a smart thing to buy. Okay. Right. More than 3 years. The reason being,
did you pull that number out of thin air?
Yeah, I did.
Okay,
I did.
I like when we do that.
And I'm just saying because typically, you're going to be able to then sell that place, get your money back.
I just give you
make money. You will make money at the end of that.
Right.
If you're going to be under 3 years, then it's going to be iffy.
Sure.
But again, and so another thing to keep in mind is this is kind of the way, might get backlash for this. It's kind of set up though that renting is a temporary solution
for a lot.
It's a temporary thing. That's the way renting should be. Mm-hmm. End goal, I think, should be buying.
Right.
Because just what I said, we are gaining equity.
Right.
You are building your net worth.
Yeah.
So keep it in mind. If you're going to be at a place more than 3 years, then it could be the right time for you to buy in that area. But again, renting, this needs to be a mindset. Renting is a temporary thing for me.
Right.
I'm going to go ahead and say this right here. There is big-willed people in the world right now that are multi-millionaires.
Sure.
Multi-millionaires. And they tell you they'll never buy, they just rent.
Sure.
If I had money to throw away.
Right.
I'm just saying those people are giving normal human beings advice.
Right.
And normal human beings are listening to multi-millionaires and they say, well, so-and-so said I should never buy.
Right.
I should just rent. If I had the money so-and-so said, I could just throw it away too. You know what I mean?
Transfer anywhere you want to.
So again, let's go back to just getting real. Right. I don't have money in my life to throw away.
Right.
Most of us don't.
Right.
So if I can build, and at the end of my 3 years, I walk away with $8,000.
Right.
It's better than walking away with nothing.
$8,000 more than you had.
It's better than walking away with nothing.
Correct.
I'm just saying we have to keep that in our minds because so many people listen to so many outside noises.
Yeah, you got to
that don't know your situation.
Right.
They don't know what's right for you. They ain't even in touch with reality.
Correct.
If it makes sense for you, it makes sense for you. Don't listen to outside noise. If that's me, don't listen to me.
Sure.
Know what's right for you.
Yeah, and we're going to end this with this because I think this is something that so many people maybe don't understand or maybe don't even know is available. Okay. But we're answering this final question. We've talked about what's better, rent or buying. We've discussed renting in 2025, buying in 2025, the pros and cons of each. We're answering the final question of how do you decide what's right for you? Here's what I'm going to say to you. There are multiple of these free resources. I'm going to start with two, that I'm very familiar with. Real estate agents, mortgage people, loan officers, banks. I can throw in there financial planners, insurance people that would love and would do this for nothing. Okay. Sit down with you. We have in-house a program that we call our renter to homeowner program. It's not rent to own a house. It's going from a renter to a homeowner. And everything that is involved in that process, we have the whole program. You know what the program cost you? Nothing. Zero. Nothing. It costs you some time to come in and have a sit-down conversation. My point is how do you answer that question? You need to sit down with someone in those groups of people and maybe more that will help you answer that question.
Yeah.
Okay. That will help you answer that question, which is better for you. Now, you also need to, in your life, I'm going to be a life coach here for a moment. You need to have goals in your life.
You do.
And you may not be where you are at this moment may not be where you want to be
right
at the end result. But you see yourself, I want to one day do this. Okay? Sit down with someone, get you a plan that gets you to where you want to go. And again, that's how you decide what's better for you. Okay? Yep. Get all the facts, get all the information, get all the what ifs out of the way by just having a simple conversation and answering the question for yourself, which is better in 2025, renting or buying? That question can only be answered by you. Mm-hmm. That is the answer to the question. That's what we've got for you. What do you got on the way out the door?
It's just good stuff, man. It's good stuff.
It's good because, again, people think a lot of times home ownership is out of reach.
Right.
People get bad information about both of these, renting and buying.
Yeah.
So just sit down and have a conversation with somebody. As always, no matter where you are, if you want to have that conversation, reach out to us.
We love to talk, man.
We love to talk. We love to talk, and we would love nothing more than to talk with you. That does it for us on this episode of the Elite Realty Group Podcast. Hopefully we've gave you some information that's beneficial to you. Whatever platform you're watching or listening to us on, make sure you hit that subscribe, that like button, that follow button. That way you get all of our content that goes out on a daily basis. We are appreciative for you taking the time to be with us today. As for all of us at Elite Realty Group, specifically me and Dave, we hope you have a wonderful rest of your day and that you are safe and blessed. And we hope to see you on the next episode of the Elite Realty Group Podcast. See y'all later.